What is going on, everybody? It is episode 657 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host, back from the weekend. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis actors. It's Mary. We're a little bit out of sorts today. We can't help but shake the feeling something is missing. We've forgotten something, but I think it might be the news cycle that's to blame. It's just still being insane.
It's not a news cycle. It's a news straight line, and it's just continuous.
It's a news cyclone. That's
somebody
what it is.
Somebody should coin that term right now before it's too late. That was good. Man,
we're just like trying to be detached right now. Because you were kind of having a full existential crisis on Friday.
Was I?
Or at least it seemed that way.
About what?
About everything. About the news cycle, about social media.
Sounds about right.
About basically just it being election season and the fact that truth is objective, but it feels subjective.
Oh, that will never go away. That's my number one complaint.
It's your number one pet peeve with reality.
Is the fact that we don't actually live in any sort of shared reality anymore anyways. And it really doesn't matter because you live in a different reality from your neighbor. So believing in the truth is really kind of foolish sometimes.
It can feel foolish.
Yes.
I'm gonna still believe in the objective truth.
It's not
reality.
it's not that I don't believe in objective truth. I'm not saying that. You know that. You know that. I'm not saying objective truth doesn't exist. I'm saying that in today's day and age, it's fundamentally almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or at least it feels that way.
Yeah.
Not to get off on too much of an existential rant before we get started, guys.
We're having a case of the Mondays right now.
Definitely a case of the manic Mondays, guys. So would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. We have passed 123,000 subscribers, so thank you all so much for that.
It was 124.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already at 124K.
There we go, guys. We're at 124,000 subscribers.
Finally beat Cast Castle. Let's go.
So
that was really our ultimate goal.
Yes, it's like we have to beat the other channel.
Watch them still beat us out.
They post one video and just immediately crawls back up. So guys, again, hit the like button on this video. Share these live streams and these videos and the segments with your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people you like and the people you don't like, because the best way to help this channel grow is to share the videos with other people so that they can see it and hopefully follow and share the videos with their friends. So please go ahead and do that. And remember, all Super Chats $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion and we will read those Super Chats right then and there. Perhaps you have something very, very important to say. Perhaps you disagree with me on the relevance and importance of objective reality in the year 2024, and you want to share that opinion right now, you can do that.
Share all of your predictions for who's going to be on the ticket.
So that's number one. That's what we're going to be getting into today. So this is Pop Culture Crisis. So we're focused on celebrities in Hollywood, and many of those celebrities have come out very quickly to endorse Kamala Harris, who has taken over as Joe Biden has decided to drop out of the race.
Yes, it's Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Excuse you.
Sorry.
Kamala is mothering. She is mother.
They don't remember that already. They already
stand.
forgot that clip of her on Drew Barrymore's show.
Kamala Harris.
That could have been cringe of the day if we'd planned ahead.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the list of celebrities who have done so. Also, perhaps some critiques of what was it? The Biden-Harris thing getting switched over.
The HQ going from Biden-Harris to just Harris.
And it's gotten, and you're saying that it shows a fundamental lack of understanding of popular culture from people on the right.
Yeah, because it's a reference to something that is only relevant to Gen Z gay stan Twitter.
Okay, well,
which is a bad decision for Kamala Harris, but whatever. That's another conversation.
I know that this is ridiculous. Is it, I don't intend to be mean. Is it Kamala or Kamala? I always say Kamala.
It's neither and it's both. I do not care at this point.
Montel Williams' ex-girlfriend. That's
Say what you feel is right. Just choose one and stick with it.
If they complain, I'll say it's my truth. So we're not just going to talk about that today, guys. The Acolyte did not go out with a bang. It went out with a whimper. And now because of that whimpering end to the show, creator Leslie Headland is now begging fans on the internet to start basically a letter writing campaign to get this thing a season 2. She's asking for people to increase the online traffic so that they can get this show a second season. And I do think it will end up getting one, if for no other reason than pure spite.
Pure spite from Leslie Headland or Disney itself?
Disney itself. So,
against the people who review bombed it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about Jojo Siwa, and for once, it's not going to be just about cringe dancing, it's about creepiness. Because she posted this tweet. I'm not even going to go into specific detail about it, but she wants to treat having children sort of like exporting a multi-part project in Adobe Premiere. She wants batch children, and we're going to talk about it. The whole thing.
She wants to grow designer babies in a lab.
So we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you are ready, Mary, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
She's
Let's
ready.
go.
All right. First things first, in a sea of consistent bad news, I do have some good news for everyone. So over the end of last week, we went and saw Twisters. Mary was a bit ambivalent. I loved this movie, and it opened very, very big at the weekend box office, far ahead of the predictions that they had for the movie. It opened to $80.5 million domestically. It was only supposed to open to about $35 to $50 million.
Biggest opening weekend ever for a disaster film. I assume they're adjusting for inflation.
So Day After Tomorrow opened in 2004 to $68 million. It's like
You did the math.
It's like $112 million now. So not the biggest of all time, but still.
Second biggest opening for a live action film so far this year. And $2 million behind the opening of Oppenheimer. So you think they could make it to close to $1 billion with this?
I mean, that would need incredible word of mouth and incredible holds from week to week. But
I forgot to mention this in our review, but I found it weird that they gestured at a love triangle in this, where her former best friend Javi was always interested in her, but he never got a chance with her.
I don't know if I'm
getting constantly cuckolded in this movie. They just kind of brushed past that, but she also didn't really end up with a kiss scene with Glenn Powell at the end.
She never seemed interested in Javi to me.
She was never interested.
Like, I don't know. I don't even know if that's necessarily what they were going for with that.
What do you mean? Of course they were. He at the very last scene.
I mean, he cheers on the other guy getting her, so I don't know how much I buy that.
No, because he's a cuck. Javi looks to Glenn Powell's character Tyler, and Tyler's chasing after her in the airport, as you are wont to do in a rom-com, and he says, "Attaboy." Okay.
When the movie was,
that's weird.
Okay, so guys, first things first. What it does is it's more evidence that movies that avoid political agendas are finding their way to higher box office runs. Certainly Bad Boys, Inside Out 2. You could make your argument that Inside Out 2, it caters to the neurotic female audience, but the majority of people said that it was free of agenda. Not just that, Despicable Me 4 just passed $500-something million at the global box office, and now Twisters is doing very, very well. Movies that don't seem to push any sort of ideology or political agenda on their audiences are what it takes to get people to come to the theaters in the summer. Apparently.
It is a really competitive time right now because of Despicable Me and because of Inside Out 2, because I noticed there were tons of people at the theater, but our own theater for Twisters was pretty packed, which is rare for a lot of these early premieres that we go to.
Definitely some Gen Z people there too. There was some people that were not. They
probably
had
no idea what the original was.
Yeah,
they didn't know that there was a Twister.
They just loved Anyone But You
Twisters
and saw Glenn Powell and went to the movie.
Right.
Further proof that that's what you should be doing here, ladies and gentlemen. So when we left the movie on Thursday, I was explaining. I said, I guarantee you that at the end of the movie, you talked about Javi cheering on Tyler as he goes to to catch up with her. And I said, I guarantee you that there was a kiss scene. Guys, we're going to get into a little bit of spoilers here. So, be warned if you plan to go see Twisters. I think it's really, really good to see either way. But there definitely was a kiss scene. I said there was definitely a scene of them kissing that was left on the cutting room floor. And I was right about that one.
Yeah. So someone took an iPhone video of it in the airport.
Yeah. Yep. At first, I had to double check and make sure that this wasn't Sydney Sweeney and that they were recycling the clip.
She's wearing the jorts. I knew it was Daisy Edgar Jones. But they said, always remember what they took from us.
Here's the thing, though. Like, who's letting people just film on iPhones on like closed sets at movie, when they're making movies these days?
It's an airport. People have to be there.
And theoretically, like the last shot in the movie, right? Like,
yeah.
There's no way this isn't the last scene, even if it doesn't get cut.
I don't know.
They don't just fit it in there. But yeah, they did show it, and it did get cut from the film. Now, they're saying that this was a note from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, in this interview.
Let's listen to this clip.
You guys filmed where you kiss, and obviously they didn't use it. What was your take on this in terms of, because I think it's great that you didn't. You know what I mean?
It looks like you're the one interviewing.
It wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was. Do you know what it is? I think it stops the film feeling too cliched. Actually, I think there's something really wonderful about it.
She's
feeling
wrong.
like there's a sort of continuation. Like this isn't the end of their story, and that they're kind of united by their shared passion of something. And
Brisket going to town right now.
Speaking of shared passion.
My man going crazy over there.
They should have dressed Javi like this in the movie. He would have looked infinitely cooler.
Yeah, no white polos.
I also think that this movie is not about them finding love. It's returning
Yeah, that would be
Kate
crazy.
to the thing that she loves, which is storm chasing, right? And so that's what you have at the end of the movie. Is like they share this thing, and like her passion is reinvigorated, her sense of home is reinvigorated. So like, I feel like a kiss would be sort of unrepresentative of the right goal, at the end of the movie. And it is a good Spielberg note. It's why Spielberg, that kid's still in this game. Yeah. It's amazing.
I would call that mildly intellectually dishonest, because the whole point at the start is that her boyfriend is in the movie and then is, again, spoiler alert, taken by a tornado, right?
Yes.
So love
taken by storm, if you will.
It was taken by storm. That's as good as me calling them storm-crossed lovers. But romance was part of the tragedy, movie. And it's treated that way. It's treated as such. So, look, I get the point that perhaps they would find it callous that they end on that note, given that she had exited a relationship via tragic means, but. Again, I think most people these days are like, just give us the cliche slop, because you don't give us any cliche slop anymore. We're not allowed to have traditional romances in movies these days without it being considered bad in some way, shape, or form. And the comments underneath the clip of them talking about it certainly seem to echo that sentiment. They're like, you should have just included the kiss.
One of them said, acting like having a kiss would be the only cliche in the film. Please be serious.
Yes.
It was already riddled with cliches, which is true. Another one said, that made me 100 times more furious. I'm so pissed now. I get they got to spin the BS on the interview circuit, but the entire plot of the movie is tornadoes and romance. The F do you mean a kiss would be too cliche? The ending is painfully abrupt. And I agreed with that.
Yes,
it was a letdown.
I think that they should have included the kiss at the end as well. Though, since I was able to make the rational argument as to why it wasn't included, I guess I understand where the director's note is coming from. Like, if you can articulate pretty quickly why it wasn't in there, if you're playing devil's advocate, you can at least see where it's coming from.
Well, they didn't mention the note of it being too soon or callous based on her loss. They said, well, no, because this actually is a movie about a woman discovering her passion, and it has nothing to do with a man. So that's exactly what they were saying in the interview, even though that's BS. It's not actually about her being callous to her dead boyfriend. It's about the fact that she's focusing on her new storm chasing hobby or / career. Yeah, that's not a good explanation.
Yeah. A lot of people would probably say that maybe I said in our review, I said that Helen Hunt's, that Joe's impetus for storm chasing is probably more, to me, it was more heart-wrenching, given that she lost her dad at a young age, and that's the whole point of the original Twisters, is that her dad's bringing them down to a storm cellar, and he gets pulled away. I showed it to Olivia, and she's like, so the thing is like, if you guys, people who've seen the movie will know what I'm talking about. So it's amazingly done. It's done basically entirely with sound, with great sound design and flashing lights until the very end of the scene. But her dad gets her mom all the way into the storm cellar, and then has to go back up to open the door to let their dog in. And the dog gets in, and then he closes the storm cellar, he locks it, and he's like holding it shut, right? He's holding on for dear life to keep the storm cellar shut, and the storm is too powerful, and it pulls the door off and him with it. But nobody that's in the depths of the storm cellar gets pulled out. So why wouldn't he just go back to the depths of the storm cellar with them and not get pulled out, because obviously opening, the wind pulling the door off of it didn't do anything to them. It doesn't
Obvious
matter.
plot hole
it doesn't
obvious.
matter when you're watching it because it's so well done.
Yeah.
But but her.
Well, is it implied that something similar happened to Kate's dad in the movie? Because she noticeably doesn't have a dad in the movie.
No, what happens to her boyfriend is her version of what happened.
So her dad is just like not there for some
But it's not even just her. But it's not even just her boyfriend though. The other members of the team,
right?
Also, other than Javi, also it happens to as well. But guys, I think the big point to be made here is that Hollywood has tried really, really hard to perfect some mastermind formula when the simplistic answer is the one that they should be going back to, which is that simple stories about simple aspects or even complicated aspects of the human condition that are universally applicable. Something like love and romance is something that everybody can get behind. You throw in tornadoes and disasters for the boys, and you've got a movie for everyone. And it seems to be showing, given that it highly overperformed over the weekend. It does have a higher budget, so it's got a ways to go to make its money back. I mean, it cost $200 million to make, but it was good, and I do encourage everyone else to go see it.
We got a tiny bit bait and switched, though.
A little bit. So, all right, let's move on. We got, if we had a womp 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 of the day, it would be what's going on with Kevin Costner. First, he goes through this tumultuous divorce. Then he puts $38 million of his own money into making the movie Horizon that nobody went to see at the theaters, and now they're saying that he is headed for bankruptcy after he was told implicitly by just about everyone, do not spend your own money on this movie.
Yeah, this says Kevin Costner put his stunning Santa Barbara estate on the line to fund the $100 million 4-movie project, Horizon: An American Saga.
To be fair, $100 million for 4 movies is not a lot.
Might be his biggest flop yet. The first installment has earned $11 million on its opening weekend, and you told me that they're already taking it out of theaters because it was doing so badly. And the sequel, the part 2, was taken off of the studio's docket for the year. It's not his divorce that took him to the cleaners. It was his own poor investment decisions. I thought about it. Look, we don't know everything going on with the divorce. Maybe he wanted to liquidate all these assets so that she couldn't have them. That's a really good point. It's a whole plot. I have no idea how far along in it. I don't know if they finalized the divorce. I know he's paying $63,000 a month in alimony. Well, if you're Kevin Costner, what is that to you? I don't know. That's a Chris Rock bit too. $25,000 a month in alimony. Yes, you need to keep them in the lifestyle to which they are accustomed. What the fuck is accustomed? You go to a restaurant, you're accustomed to eat. You leave, you ain't eating no more. They don't owe you a steak. The point being that maybe he just wanted to get rid of all the money in his bank account so that his wife could. That would be an epic move from a truly petty person. It would be some 4D chess, definitely. People were saying, they're saying, Kevin Costner, he doesn't allow anybody to tell him anything. He's gotta stick with his own guns on everything. So people like that can be very successful, but when it goes bad, it can go really bad. And certainly blowing $38 million of your own money when you've got this beautiful property in California that you want to hold on to probably isn't the greatest idea. But clearly he believes in the art enough that he's willing to do that. I almost have to admire the kind of it's not ignorance, but the naivete of the artist to be willing to do that. Well, at least you're not putting a studio's money on the line and acting entitled about it. Correct. You're putting your own money where your mouth is, even though it didn't work out. But I just looked up his estimated net worth. Granted, these things are often way wrong, way off. But it says Kevin Costner's net worth is between $250 million and $400 million. Probably lower after this disaster has taken place. And if it's $250 million and and he ends up splitting however much with his wife, he's spending $63,000 a month in alimony. So it's getting bad reviews. An insider shared Kevin Costner could be wiped out by this disaster. Everyone warned him not to invest his own money, but he ignored the advice and ended up sinking $38 million of his own cash into this. Now he can kiss all that money goodbye. He's admitted before that he is not a very good businessman, and he refused to heed these warnings, including his own accountant, according to these sources. and he mortgaged his 10-acre ranch in Santa Barbara to fund his dream. He's stubborn and refuses to listen to anyone. No one believes in themselves more than him, even though he became a laughingstock after his flop Waterworld.
Yeah, Waterworld was in development hell. Like, there's whole videos on YouTube about the development hell of. Maybe we'll watch a video on it someday. It was a very expensive, very tumultuous production because of. Imagine having to make a movie like that in the practical effects era, right? A movie basically just underwater the whole time. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I was. I almost. Have you ever heard of the movie Wild America?
No.
With it's about. I never saw it, but I was reading a bunch about it. So it was a movie from 1997 or something with like Devon Sawa, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and I forget who the other person was. And it's about 3 teenage boys who love nature, so their parents just let them go across the country and photograph nature. And I was reading about this practical effect where I guess they get chased by an alligator, and they were talking about how they had a fake one, like an animatronic alligator, and then a real one, and they would cut between the two. And at any given point, so the real alligator's like mouth was wired shut, and there was 8 wranglers in strategic places on either side of this pond or wherever it was, just in case to ensure their safety. And I'm just thinking about, like, you can't blame the studios now. They're like, we're not doing that. We're just gonna pay a studio to make a fake alligator. But I appreciate the era of doing things practically, and Waterworld was done practically.
Well, I just saw like photos from the set of Alien Romulus over the weekend that are relying on practical effects. I thought that you would appreciate that. You saw it, right?
Yeah, and you just, it's unbelievable how much more, like if a person is coming up against something that's real and they're supposed to look scared, just the ability for like an object to encroach on your personal space will make you react differently than if you're trying to imagine what something would look like that close to you. It's very hard to fake that, even with the best actors. But poor Kevin Costner. I think he's a Liz Cheney guy. I think that's what he wore a shirt that said, "I'm a Liz Cheney guy." So maybe he can ask Liz Cheney for some type of subsidy. Yeah.
Good luck with that, Kevin.
All right, let us move on then, shall we? Tenacious D is in the news. Kyle Gass deleted his Instagram apology. Now, you thought that he deleted his whole Instagram page.
Well, when I tried to go to Kyle Gass's page, it looked like he had taken it down entirely and just put out his statement right before that. But apparently he put it back up and deleted his apology note about advocating for violence against Donald Trump.
He's like, look, if
weren't aware.
He's like, look, I lost my representation. I'm not going on tour. I'm not going to apologize for something I didn't actually mean.
So many people were throwing Jack Black under the bus for his reaction to this, which I don't think was totally not justified. I really think that Jack Black was actually doing him a favor by addressing the situation and not letting it burst into flames. But everyone was saying like, wow, Jack Black is fake. He just threw away a 30-year friendship so that he could keep his role in the Minecraft movie. And what was the other one? Into the Badlands or whatever?
No, and also, I mean, he's in Super Mario.
Yeah, and like, he's obviously more famous than his bandmate by a lot.
Jack Black in Into the Badlands would be the greatest thing ever, given that Into the Badlands was like a dystopian martial arts.
I don't remember what it was, but they said that he was threatened.
Borderlands. He's in Borderlands, yeah.
They said that he was threatened with losing his part in the Minecraft movie, and that's why he decided to make a statement.
He did agree with what he said. When he said it, it's not like he didn't agree with it.
Yes, so 100%.
Last week was the entire argument about your moral standing when it comes to people getting canceled. It's a new week, guys. The news cycle's not even 24 hours anymore. It's 24 minutes. So.
Yeah, nobody even remembers that this happened by now.
Yep. I was saying that I was on
third happening since this.
I was on Yellow Flash's channel on Saturday night, and we were talking about the assassination attempt. I was like, the news, it's gonna be gone. I was like, people have short memories, and this will be a lot less relevant by election time. And without fail, on Sunday, Biden announces that he's dropping out, and suddenly the news cycle is completely different. Yeah,
so. Like, it felt that way merely a few days afterwards, but yeah, he's deleted his apology post because he never believed what he was saying in the first place, and this is why if you aren't sorry, you shouldn't say sorry. I would appreciate more the honesty of just saying, like, no, I think what I said was funny, I think you guys are being overly sensitive, and I stand by what I said. That I would appreciate or at least respect more than a fake ass apology that you're making because your management told you to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on that. But look, there is seemingly a cultural shift going on. I want to point this out because of the baseball teams, various players doing Trump-inspired celebrations. I had to like double check it first to make sure they weren't like mocking him.
Oh, I didn't think that.
Yeah, like, look, I don't have a lot of faith in the human condition a lot of the time, but like, look, this is very significant and indicative of a cultural shift in sports. Now, I want to point out that I have seen a lot of people say, and they're not wrong, that what used to happen is that when football players would take a knee during the national anthem, people would say, get your politics out of sports. And now people that were saying that are suddenly okay with the baseball celebration invoking Trump. What I would say in a perfect world you should have is both of those groups should feel free to do so. And you can both have your politically inclined celebrations, even though I would prefer all of it stay out of sports. If you're going to have it from both sides.
They are essentially entertainers at the end of the day.
I don't agree with that. I mean, they're not.
If they're not entertaining people,
they're paid to win. Your team, you entertain people by winning. So, but like the better a sports team does, the more entertaining they are. They're competitors first and entertainers second. Savannah Bananas are entertainers.
Okay, sure.
Savannah Bananas are entertainers. Let's watch this clip here, though.
Two-base hit for Taylor Walls, and now he's in scoring position.
They're throwing the fist up, but not that kind of fist, not the BLM fist.
Yes.
Two base.
I think it's interesting because it's like I said last week about it. I said, like, America's pastime is baseball, and there's nothing more, a part of the American consciousness. There's very few things as part of the American consciousness as baseball is for this country. Certainly that's why Hollywood used to make lots of movies about baseball. So seeing this type of shift is a big one, to be able to support or at least reference Trump in the mainstream in a way that's not, he's evil.
I would prefer to have an escape from thinking about politics.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said that to me, the preference would be to keep all of this out of sports, but, at least be intellectually consistent. If you disliked it when players took a knee or threw up the fist for BLM, then you should be against this as well. But if you're going to be for both of them, I'm okay with that.
That's how I feel. I think obviously the national anthem should remain a fixture in these games, but some people think that that's inherently pushing politics into sports.
Yeah,
there's not really a clear line drawn.
No, it's hard to discern, and again, depends on the cultural shift at the time. Like what was going on when all of this was happening with BLM was very, very relevant because of things that were going on outside of sports.
Remember, like during the lockdown period where they were putting mannequins in the seats with masks on the mannequins.
That was the time that I thought was craziest, where I pointed out, like, I never got political or mentioned politics on Facebook back when I had a Facebook, and I reposted an article about, like, I think it was local. I think it was like the city of St. Paul was requiring employees to wear masks on Zoom meetings. And I was like, okay, I have finally found something that is so absurd that nobody could possibly disagree with it, right? And I had people in the comment section saying they're getting people used to having conversations with other people wearing masks. So they had what they believed to be a completely rational explanation.
These are people you knew. On Facebook?
I mean,
because they were on Facebook.
As much as you can consider knowing them. I mean, I know a lot of people through skating, so it was people who weren't even local to the state.
Oh my goodness.
But it did happen, and that was kind of that might have been like that first step to me realizing that there is no end to this. There is no level of absurd. If you can explain away a lady playing a clarinet with a hole in a mask, you can explain away anything.
Yeah. I have not seen many mea culpas. So there, if you're that far gone, you're probably not coming back.
Yep. All right. I was going to show this before that, but I thought it was relevant to the discussion about Jack Black. But we have R. Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have not been able to confirm whether this is real or not. I don't want to check. I just want to assume it's real. Did you see this?
This is R. Kelly giving a free concert in prison.
Free concert in prison. Maybe it's a plea to not do anything to him. Maybe that's what's going on. People who hurt children are not well liked in prison. Mm-hmm. So here we go. You can barely hear it. I don't think it's real.
Looks like just some random.
They just put the audio over it, right?
Yeah.
But
no, we talked about him recording a prison album, but we weren't sure whether it was AI or
Suge Knight
what was going on.
I don't know if he still does, but at one point, Suge Knight, the legendary rap producer, has a podcast from prison. So
many prisoners have contraband phones. It's actually crazy how they can't seem to stop it. Like, they're on TikTok making cooking videos and dance videos in their prison cells.
Here's how you make prison cell pruno.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
That's the content.
All right. And then it's their audition for Love After Lockup.
Yep. That's
for later.
They're trying to find GFs.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's look at the cringe first.
Okay, here we go. I had multiple people send this to me, and it is pretty much the definition of cringe. Here you go, guys. No audio needed.
It's 4 grown men in a TikTok dance together. Or what I can only assume is a TikTok dance. Yeah.
Their argument could be like, at least we're in good enough shape that we don't have to wear tank tops on the beach.
Nope. There's no excuse for this behavior. Don't even try. The caption was, "We used to go to war."
Yeah.
I haven't heard men tell each other that, but it needs to be said.
People were saying that down in the comments section. They were like, "Did you go to war to this guy?" And he's like, "I don't think that matters."
No, he said like I served in the ID.
I'm a decorated soldier in the war.
Gaffistan.
Yeah. Yep.
In the war of I don't Gaffukistan or something. Yep. But yeah.
Is this a level above or below men who get humiliated for their girlfriends' TikToks?
What is
like anytime they have to be included in their girlfriend's TikTok and they clearly don't want to be there?
What, the orange peel test?
Anything like that, yeah. Is this above or below that?
I can't tell.
Okay. All right.
What do you think? That genuinely stumps me.
Somehow I feel like letting your girlfriend debase you is worse.
I'm leaning toward that, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's do cringe. We just did cringe. Let's do cute of the day, and we have some here, guys. So thank you for submitting these. First things first. This is from Barrett. This is very cute. It's not tagged with anything. Let's go full screen there. Can't really see it that well. I can't see his face.
So fluffy.
So fluffy. It's a very cute cat.
Love it.
Let me go back here. Very cute cat. Says his name is Maya. This is Maya having a very comfy nap.
We stand Maya.
We like Maya here. Let's do one more here. All right. This one is from Bad Kitty. I don't know if this is the Bad Kitty.
I don't know.
It says, this is Major Mittens. Major Mittens. I broke her out of prison a year ago, an actual prison where I work. She was roaming around. She has been very well behaved.
Aww. It looks like she has sweater paws.
I like it.
Right there.
I like it. All right, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Now that we are 34 minutes into the show, let's talk about all the celebrities who seem to be getting right behind Kamala.
Yeah, unless you are living under a rock, you probably heard yesterday that Biden officially dropped out of the 2024 race, and he endorsed Kamala Harris for the nomination. And of course, predictably, celebrities of all kinds rushed to her support to voice their endorsements for her. First off, I wanted to mention that the former Biden-Harris HQ account rebranded instantly to a Kamala HQ account with the bio that just reads, providing context. And they changed their header on X to, it's just a blank green screen with Arial text that says Kamala HQ on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, wow, this is really bad graphic design. Didn't they put any thought into this?
But the point is that there was actually a point behind it.
The point, which is a really stupid point, is that they're trying to win over pop star stan Twitter right now with this move.
That's as like minuscule of a group as you can get, right?
I said this morning. I was like, do they think they're going to win with just the gay stan Twitter vote? Or there are like 12 of them, but okay. That was what they chose to do. And the reference is to the recent album Brat from Charli XCX. It has the same album cover. What she did with the rollout is she changed all of her album covers so that they were just blank with the name on it in very plain text. And that's what they did. They copied it to get Charli XCX stans to vote for Kamala. I'm kind of lost as to how this is relevant.
It's kind of unnecessary because given that she's a Democrat and she's not filing for like AARP, she's going to win the youth vote anyways from them, like from the left.
I guess. I mean, she's voiced so much support for Israel that I think a lot of the watermelons wouldn't like that, but who am I to say at this point?
I don't think that matters. I think that I don't know how many of them are going to use that as an impetus to not vote for her if the opposite choice is Donald Trump. I think that the watermelons dislike him even more.
Quite possibly. Alex Clark weighed in on this because a lot of conservatives did not understand the reference that Kamala HQ was making. Once again, I'm begging conservatives to run any and all pop culture things by me during this election season, because now we have people who don't know what a brat summer is, making fun of Kamala for graphic design fails, having no idea this is a massive Gen Z appeal strategy. I'm so tired, LOL. It is not a massive Gen Z appeal strategy, I would say. It's just a stan Twitter appeal strategy that makes no sense. I think that the fact that I understood the reference immediately is embarrassing for me. The fact that other people didn't understand the reference is also embarrassing. The whole thing is just embarrassing, but...
So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yes, you're damned if you understand the reference, you're damned if you don't. But Charli XCX also tweeted out, Kamala is brat. So that's her official endorsement, even though she's British, so she should just stay out of it. And you sent me a whole list of people that have spoken out so far. Demi Lovato posted on Instagram twice on Sunday to show her support for Kamala Harris. In one post, she reshared Biden's statement alongside a photo of her with Kamala Harris. I have no idea why they met. She added a donation link to the Democrats.
I know why they met, because the Dems love to support celebrities because it's good for building their voter base.
It just happens so often that I don't even take note of it anymore.
It's so funny because that was like the first time I think I ever had like a truly political thought in adulthood. Was like I remember Obama being on like Letterman again, and I was just like, isn't he busy? Yeah. Like that was like,
doesn't this guy have other things to do?
Like it was not mired by anything left or right. I don't think I even really cared at the time. I'm just like, it seems like he's got better things to do.
Yeah.
Like,
shouldn't you be drone striking children right now?
I mean, that wasn't my thought at the time,
but
like that would be my thought now. Like, it's like, aren't you busy?
Don't you have children to drone strike right now? That was a joke, YouTube. Jamie Lee Curtis also posted on Instagram, I support wholeheartedly Biden and his decision to step down and endorse Kamala Harris. She is trusted and tested. That was in all caps. She is a fierce advocate for women's rights and POC, and her message is one of hope and unity for America at her time of great national divide.
What's her big saying? What is...
what is unburdened by what has been? Or no, what could be unburdened by what has been. Kamala has a lot of these moments that are just really bizarre out of context. Yeah. Like, she's funny without trying to be. I just this morning saw a video of her telling someone how they should prepare a turkey. Like, she was like, you just like get like ground pepper and salt, and you just like lather that baby up, and then you take butter and you cut up some thyme, and then you put that under the skin so the butter just melts. It just is a very in-depth explanation of how you're supposed to prepare a turkey for Thanksgiving.
There's a 20 there.
This one is from President-elect Pressure. I'm missing my Clanker meeting to tell you Your Pocahontas tales are the cute of the day.
Oh, you're
Oh, is this what those are called?
the pigtails. Yeah.
I've never heard that before. Okay. Thanks. John Legend also posted on
When he says clanker
Threads.
meeting, is that like is he referring to Styx Hexenhammer? I'm assuming he's referring to Styx Hexenhammer.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Okay.
John Legend posted on Threads because he doesn't use Twitter.
I do.
So no one saw his post.
I do love the amount of people that are just so like that use Threads, knowing that it reaches about a quarter of the people that they would otherwise.
Literally no one. He said Joe Biden has presided over the most consequential first term of real progress in my lifetime. He helped us have the most
that's
robust.
kind of throwing shade at Obama, isn't
Kind
it?
of, yeah.
So much of what they say, it's like I would love.
They're just kind of making it up.
I would no. It's what I'm saying. It's always this verbose language. It's like a scene right out of The Acolyte where Kamir says something really, really stupid that has nothing to do. What was Kamir's big thing that was taken from Jordan Peterson?
Even in the depths of our despair, or no, what was it?
Yeah, whatever.
In our triumph, we see the depth of our despair.
That's the point, right? Is they use a lot of deep verbose language that doesn't actually have any meaning behind it at all because nobody thinks about it any deeper than the words themselves. They don't actually ask questions like, okay, so it was a super successful first term. What about it was successful? I'm actually willing to hear, like, what is the...
Well, he listed some things.
Okay, let's go through it.
He listed the most robust recovery from the pandemic of any nation in the world. I guess counting out Switzerland, which didn't lock down.
Yeah.
Invested in our infrastructure and made by far the largest investment in fighting climate change our nation has ever seen. Forgiving college debts.
Not forgiving college debts, getting other American citizens to pay for college debts.
He says unemployment, inflation, and crime are all down dramatically from the highs caused by the pandemic.
From the highs caused by the money printing that you did.
And with this record, he more than earned a re-election, but time and age come for us all. Okay. To pretend that this was a decision he made out of humility, rather than, first of all, not even having the wherewithal to be in control of his decisions, and just pure spite and arrogance and pride.
It's all fake. None of it's real. The second he got COVID, which I don't believe for a second, it's all, everything that goes on in American politics is fake.
Oh gosh, Kathy Griffin posted a tweet. Let's make history, finally.
Wait, isn't it herstory?
Yes, it's herstory.
Thank you.
Maybe Kamala is going to recycle the I'm with her slogan.
Look, one of the problems I have with celebrity endorsements on both sides is that it's not really, really relevant, because for the average celebrity, the concerns they have about the U.S. are vastly different than the concerns of you, I, or anybody else who's working a regular job, right? Their money, their wealth, their status, it means that different things matter to them. That's okay, but it's not their endorsements that should actually matter. But it speaks to the intelligence of the average person that they do look for, and this goes for both sides, right? Like, I give Cardi B's opinion of who should be president as much thought as I give Kid Rock's idea of who should be president.
It's interesting that Cardi B is on this list because she openly said that she regretted endorsing Biden in 2020 and that she swore she would never endorse another presidential candidate again. Yet she has now endorsed Kamala. She said this should have been the perfect time to give it to Kamala. It's just a little selfish for the whole Democrat Party to not give her this moment because she might not ever get this moment again. I'm telling you, they robbed you of your moment. You should have been there debating Trump. And she reshared Biden's letter saying, let's go. I told y'all Kamala was supposed to be the 2024 candidate. So now she's openly endorsing a candidate after I don't even think a year ago she said she was never endorsing again.
You cannot. They've subverted their own electoral process by doing this, by Biden winning the primaries and then just dumping him out of there with a freaking Notes app apology on
a Notes app
Twitter.
Apology.
By the way, I take issue. My biggest complaint here is the idea that Newsweek. The idea that Newsweek considers Gavin Newsom, AOC, Pete Buttigieg, and Cheryl Lee Ralph celebrities.
Yeah, we're slashing them off the list.
They don't count as celebrities.
Ariana Grande also endorsed Kamala and posted the donation link. Robert De Niro, Mark Hamill, George Takei, all of the usual suspects for these things.
I do want to point out, guys, that this does also have a lot to do with money and funding because celebrity donors, it's relevant. So Hollywood donors are excited and motivated to write checks to Kamala after Biden exits the race. And they go into detail here about all of the ways in which now that Biden is out, you know, those big ticket donors are going to be willing to put their money back in.
Do you have the reaction of Sharon Stone saying that she's going to move to Europe?
There's a 20 there from Ben Tomsky.
Ben Tomsky said, but Brett, didn't you love Hulk Hogan at the RNC?
Yes, as a bit of Americana, not because it's going to affect who I'm going to vote for president. Nor would it ever. For instance, if Hulk Hogan was to come out, like I made the joke, I said Hulk Hogan should come out as Hollywood Hulk Hogan at the DNC and turn on the right. And it would be hilarious if he came out with the NWO belt. Look, I would love that. And that would be hilarious too. That would also be a shout out to Americana. But neither of those is going to influence who I'm going to vote for.
Yeah, same. I can't think of a single celebrity that would convince me otherwise.
And yes, we do have do have Sharon Stone.
I know so many celebrities have promised to leave the US if Trump gets elected. It didn't happen the first time, but maybe, just maybe, we can hope they're serious this time around.
Let's listen to what Sharon Stone has to say. She's done scaring me with that photo she posted
the other day. This is her second strike.
Yeah. I'm certainly considering a house here. And I think that's an intelligent construct at this time.
Sure, and I mean, I can't recommend it enough.
Yes.
Is it in any way politically motivated, or is it just?
Well, naturally. When we see presidential candidates whose platform is hate, that's something that I don't feel our country has faced before. We've faced political candidates whose platform was ignorance. But I don't think we've seen political candidates whose outright platform was hatred.
We had presidential candidates who openly supported slavery, and Trump wasn't one of them.
It's
just
also
going to throw that out there.
It's funny because they always talk about moving to Europe, and Europe has their own abortion. I was thinking because a lot of for the female celebrities, a lot of it has to do with reproductive rights. That seems to be what they term reproductive rights, and that's a talking point a lot of the time for them. But you know, the Europe has a lot of very, very similar, you know, 12
a lot
to,
of Europe has very restrictive
12 to 14
policies.
Weeks, you know, is very, very common there. So I think a lot of it is just, it's ignorance on their, oddly enough and ironically enough, ignorance on their own part. And
is it just
sounds good?
Flexing their wealth that I can move wherever I want? Is that what it is? Because that's extremely elitist for people who are open communists. But anyway, I wanted to show one of these TikTokers reacting to Biden stepping down. Do you have this post?
Which one from ST?
No,
it's the guy.
Alex Rosen posted it.
Here we go, guys. This is great.
Someone having a full mental break.
You're gonna love this.
He's dropped out!
Music's gonna get us copyrighted.
He dropped out!
I really hope this is fake.
Don't worry, Cardi B said that.
Joe Biden, please!
But his nails are painted, so I know it's real.
Jitsi, we need to band together. Please.
No thanks,
he was
bro.
Jinxi's first president.
Wow, the tripod bent. You see that?
It's barely holding on for dear life.
At least take your seatbelt off while doing this. Okay.
Got a 20 from Kevin. Her last time I checked, Sharon was from South Africa. Sharon Stone South African?
Yep.
Oh, well. Go back there.
She can do
That's
that.
fine. You can do whatever you want.
That was painful. You know what it is? It speaks more to, I think somebody should do a study on like the car has become this amazing place of like expression and freedom for people because it's soundproof and it gives people the ability
You should write a think piece about this.
It's really, really interesting. And I think it's born out of the same way that the average person who, you know how there's the trope that's like the perfectly kind person becomes an absolute maniac when they're driving with road rage. Like a perfectly reasonable person who would never be, who's conflict averse suddenly becomes a psychopath when they're driving. And that's because of the security and the anonymity that the car provides, right?
Yeah.
So somehow that is now trickled down into social media posts and stuff like that.
Where you can be all alone, away from your roommates and your family.
And post your ridiculous... See, I mean, I thought...
Post your mental breakdowns.
Like having a mentee be in your car is perfectly acceptable. I thought this guy...
all the kids are doing it. All the kids are having mentee bees in their cars.
I was told that, like... You know, age wasn't a problem until just now. Now they're talking about how much younger she is. So I thought he would be on board with the...
How old is she?
I think she's 59.
Okay.
Or something like that. Something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure somebody's fact checking me right now and telling us wrong. She's in her late 50s or something like that. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's. Oh, and we had an impersonation. Like as
one of the TikTokers did an impersonation of Kamala.
Here we go.
Well. You know, I knew this day would come. I knew it would come, you know? And I felt it in my ovaries. And I'll tell you something. I didn't think that sticking all those needles in that Biden doll would help, but here I am.
She's not laughing enough to be Kamala.
She has a good cackle.
Yeah.
Now, I've been a little busy since the news broke. And, you know, I was galvanizing with many donors. And I asked my good friend Jean-Claude Van Damme to help me with my acceptance speech. So, here goes nothing. Oh, say, can you see? Okay. By the dawn's early light, Jean-Claude, I don't want to talk about Don in the speech.
Okay.
We've had enough.
Yes, that is enough there. So there it is, guys. It's you know, the celebrities are going to support the leftist candidates.
It's entirely predictable.
Yep, it is.
Yesh said, "Howdy, people. Howdy. How you doing?" Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. Man, they kicked Biden out on National Ice Cream Day
of all
without
the days.
so much as a scoop of Chaka Chaka chips."
See, I don't think that's true. I think what they did is they distracted him with a
they
double
lured
scoop.
him out of the White House
with a double scoop.
Chaka Chaka chip. Yeah.
With a double scoop.
Chaka chip.
That's what they did.
Red Snow said, okay, this is insane. There are no spaces in this super chat. Show me what passes for fury amongst your misbegotten kind.
Thank you. I like the no spaces. Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Corey Anderson said, "Mary, did you see my tweet on YouTube's nudity allowance?" No, I haven't seen your tweet about this, but I told you about this earlier. There are a ton of women trying to skirt around the nudity ban on YouTube by making breastfeeding tutorials.
So they're doing what the Twitch thoughts have done for ages. They're getting creative. They're using their whole brain now to try and make their money.
Just the premise of it is insane.
Yeah.
Why? Forgive me for my ignorance, but why would you need a breastfeeding tutorial to begin with?
From a channel called like Pumping You Up.
Probably. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back after
my faith in humanity, I didn't think it could get any lower, and it's just going down to the molten core of the earth every day.
Speaking of which, let's maybe this is our last topic about the Acolyte.
Yeah, I think maybe after this, we'll finally put our talk about the Acolyte to rest, because I just don't think anybody cares about it anymore. But recently, Leslie Headland, the creator and showrunner for the Acolyte, did an interview with Collider, where she openly begged fans to shill for the show so that they can get approved for a second season by Disney. Shall I read the full quote? All right, I'll go for it. The interviewer said, shifting gears, one of the most popular questions from Twitter is, what do fans need to do to ensure that we get a season 2? The obvious answer is that you should have watched the show. They should have
watched the show.
But they didn't, because we looked at the numbers.
It would be interesting to see how much, like, companies like Disney, how much stock they use internet clout as a gauge for, like, is it 75%, who actually watches?
Well, that fake ass stat that the Acolyte is the most popular since
was because of impressions
since
online.
Mandalorian. It was impressions online, which literally just means that people are dunking on you on Twitter, and those posts are going viral.
Correct.
But anyway, Leslie Headland said, truly any online support and love you can send the show. It's a little tricky because of the way that the internet works, but if you enjoy the show and you want to see more of the story, any support you can give on social media platforms would be super helpful to drown out all of the negativity. Sending love to the cast too. You've seen what Hayden Christensen went through. He's getting the love now, but give the love now if you enjoyed the performances. Even if you were kind of whatever on the show, if you enjoyed the performances, get on their social media, let them know you love them and that you support them and that their performances were great.
That only works if there's something bad by comparison.
I mean, that only works if there is something to praise.
It works for Hayden Christensen because something bad came after, which makes the stuff before look less awful.
Yeah.
It's like if the Disney Star Wars did one thing well, it was make people appreciate the prequels more than they ever did before, right? So you can't really do it in that order. It's not going to work. And also, it's weird that she said online support, not like go stream it.
Not one thing that she recommended fans do involves watching the show. She also continued to say, encourage your friends to watch the show.
Okay.
So there's that. A lot of my work has been word of mouth. We were talking about review bombing. So telling people not to pay attention to the IMDb score. She means you can help out our show by telling people to ignore the bad reviews. She continued, if you enjoyed it, tell people. It kind of seems basic, but I think that's what's interesting nowadays is if you like a show, you're rarely going to go online and be like, I liked this show. You just watch it and move on. You move on, maybe you mention it to somebody over dinner. It usually comes up that way as opposed to going online and saying that you love the show. So if you did, then pivot and be appreciative. By the way, I know this is already happening even though I'm not online. People have been sending me fun tweets and artwork and all of the ship comments. We already know where the ship comments are coming from. I'm absolutely loving it. I know it's out there, but if you aren't doing it, I would encourage you to do it and support the show. So thank you.
She's wrong about that. People talk about stuff they like online all the time.
Not in Star Wars, really.
Not in the same way that they talk about things they dislike. That's absolutely true. But people do support things online, at least on Twitter. I get made fun of all the time for anytime there's a national event going on. I'm talking about some TV show that I like or some movie that I like.
I saw some positive comments for the Acolyte on Twitter.
I saw plenty.
But most of them were just saying, like, kind of retorts to what everyone else was saying, claiming that any fair criticism of the show is a hate train.
Yeah.
And, if you discredit people's criticisms just right out the gate and, paint with a broad brush that all of it is racism, all of it is people making up their minds before they've even seen it, then you've completely destroyed any relationship you could have had with that audience that needs to be convinced, right? You can't just rely on this shill stan account audience of like a few dozen people to keep it afloat. But you said you think Disney is going to give them a second season.
Just out of spite.
Simply to spite the fans?
I know. Look, if they can spend $180 million on this, they can do it again.
That's an expensive FU. That's
they just
really
made all that Inside Out.
risk.
They just made all that Inside Out 2 money. They can shuffle it over there from Pixar.
See, exactly. This is why I got mad about the success of Inside Out 2, because they'll have one movie that makes money and use that as their excuse for the next 5 years as to why nothing is wrong at Disney.
Deadpool's gonna make
this
money.
is fine.
Yeah.
In the
Deadpool's
burning
gonna make
house.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, Deadpool is probably going to do better as well.
So they're going to have those 2 hits, and then they'll just subsidize the rest by their funny bookkeeping and all the other ways in which these things happen, and then they'll just keep making it. I have no doubt that things like this end up getting a second season.
You sent me an insane take in regard to shipping.
Did I? Oh, which one was it? I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, well, first off, you sent me that tweet about...
Oh, yeah, the one about The Last Jedi.
OSHA choking Soul, and someone responding and saying, all I see is a black person choking an Asian person.
Yeah. Like, when I read that, I was like, it made me grateful that I don't think that way, that wasn't a thought that even crossed my mind, and it just shows you how unbelievably poisoned so many people are by identity politics these days.
And I just sent you the link to the Ray tweet. Yep. This person said, all of this so she wouldn't kiss the black guy she actually had chemistry with.
I mean, they were too busy putting him with Poe. Anyways, so, right? The bromance with Poe.
Right.
And then
I just don't understand why do you have this like weird obsession with, first of all, shipping in general is weird. Mm-hmm. But second of all, if you're going to racialize all of your shipping obsessions, that's even weirder and honestly just pornographic.
Well, I mean, that's a big thing for all of this stuff, right? Like, as soon as you court stan Twitter, every single choice you make is going to be put under the microscope, right? I was just reading this large thread. It's not really connected to that, but there was this large thread about, like, I guess Bobby Lashley might be leaving WWE, and they're talking about how Triple H is racist for not booking him as a wrestler better. And just imagine having to be thrown into this world where every decision you make, if you don't give them the one they want, is because they believe the most abhorrent of things about you, right? Like, claiming that someone is a racist is an extraordinary claim, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And to do so in those respects, I don't really think that I can accept much outside of like them openly admitting it. You know, a lot of things go into business decisions, and most people who remember the hullabaloo around The Last Jedi and then what came after that with The Rise of Skywalker was, you know, everybody was pissed, and then they bring J.J. Abrams back in and they try to make everyone happy, and in the end, when you try to make everyone happy, you make nobody happy. And most people, when they saw that kiss between, you know, Kylo Ren and, you know, that they're like, why is this here? Like, it didn't make any sense to anyone. They're like, why is this in here? What do Rey, like, he's been awful to her for all the movies. Why are they doing this?
It is a cliche though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a 20 from Carnell. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Leslie Headlamp, Harvey Weinstein's former assistant, already on the record during promotion of The Acolyte saying that she didn't intend to have a continuation for the show/story?
Mm. Yeah.
Well, I guess plans changed because it didn't end as a self-contained limited series. It ended with
a cliffhanger.
A bad cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. A really, really hard to discern cliffhanger.
A really stupid attempt at a cliffhanger. So I think she is hoping to get a second season of this. And this is what people in Hollywood do. They fail upwards, and it's probably going to work out for her.
I mean, most of the time they do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we're outside of the realm of like the network TV model, you know, where it's 22 episodes a year and you're working 9 months at a time, 9 or 10 months at a time, and you live and die by the ratings. But without that rating system and advertisers to be there to organically tell you when your show's failing by not being willing to put ads on, you know, like without without that system anymore, it doesn't really matter. And it just feels more and more every day like when it comes to Hollywood, money is fake. It doesn't even exist anyway.
There's like one person at Disney who has the nuclear codes to actually look at the viewing numbers on their shows because they do not want the media to know.
Yep.
They don't want the fans to know. And they're not going to tell the talent because it's not a meritocratic system anymore. It hasn't been since streaming took over.
It's just funny because network TV still does infinitely better, right? Like you look at all of these streaming numbers and you see all of these shows just get murked by old shows that were on network TV a decade ago. And you wonder why, like, and to be fair to most of them, like I've made fun of, like, they made a really awful television adaptation of The Equalizer where not only, cause like the original, like the Denzel Equalizer movies were a race swap, but they did a race and gender swap with Queen Latifah. And it just sounds so ridiculous and incomprehensible that would get made, but it's on like season 4 and they keep renewing it. So clearly
there's a niche for a lot of things.
Old people are just showing up to watch, and as long as that exists, that's technically a meritocracy. If people show up to watch, you can complain about, and I did complain about the idea of Queen Latifah being any type of like scary assassin type person. It's not believable. It's ridiculous on its premise, but who am I to tell them they're wrong if they seemingly keep getting enough numbers to bring the show back, because they'll cancel other shows on a dime if they don't make enough revenue. But streaming is a completely different ballgame, and they've fallen in a lot of ways. Netflix keeps winning. And Netflix is the only one that seems to ever win and show themselves as profitable. They said that they were going to try and add 5 million subscribers in the most recent quarter. They added 8. Now I saw that Apple TV is looking to slash their budgets, and all of these other ones. They're trying to find the formula, but the sad fact is Netflix just got in first and built up a stronger infrastructure because they put out plenty of garbage, but still seem to be able to add subscribers.
And now they're going to start the Netflix shopping mall.
Yeah.
To subsidize more of their projects.
Well, no, also like they've been kicking people off so they had the lowest ad-free tier, which was like $14.95 a month or something like that, or $15.95 a month. And they've kicked people off that where now they have to either go to the next highest tier because they completely eliminated it, or they have to go to the ad tier, which is where they want to push people. They want to push people to the ad tier.
Remember when it was just plain old $8 a month?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do. I mean,
we used to be a country. I learned the other day that a McDouble was $1. The McDouble was $1?
I used to buy it for $1, yep. Back in my day.
I'm at a loss.
So guys, if you guys really want that second season of The Acolyte, make sure you go on Disney over there to Disney and let them know.
Red Snow said, also praise be to Space King. Let's go.
Let's go.
Nate said, money's tight, trying to buy a ranch. Still want you to know you're awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And good luck on the ranch hunt. I hope that happens. Maybe you could buy Kevin Costner's.
Oh yeah, I heard it's up for sale.
It's gonna be up for sale.
Tacti Pilates said, our theater was most packed. I'd seen it, enjoyed, except for the part college kids made fun of hillbillies with YouTube, even as accurate as it is. Well, I don't think that they were being made the butt of a joke in that.
That would be true if it didn't fly in the face of how cool they made Glenn Powell and all of the people that he worked with look cool the whole time. The other guys are the stodgy losers,
right?
With the David Corn, with Superman being there just pissing everyone off.
Yeah.
Did we mention that in the review?
No, we didn't.
So if you guys don't know, the guy who plays what was the name of the team? Stormpar? Was that the name of the group? So the guy who plays the unrelenting dickhead in Stormpar, that's David Cornsweet before he got hired to play Superman. He got the casting notification midway through filming this movie before he got on his workout regime and got into buff shape.
Yeah, he wasn't giving Superman, but I knew his face from somewhere and it was driving me crazy.
Couldn't think of it, yeah.
He looks kind of a bit like Elijah Wood, and he kind of looks like Penn Badgley as well.
All put together. There's 3 20s there.
Oh, King said Disney was hacked by a furry hacktivist group this week because Club Penguin was shut down. The data dump is said to contain employee personal info as well as unannounced product, movies, and video games.
Is that okay? So is that the
true?
same? Is that the same hack that Null Bulge did, which was which their advertising for that was like they were an artist advocacy hacktivist group, and certainly a lot of that info came out. What happened was their Slack channels were hacked.
That doesn't sound like the same one. Why is cybersecurity like spontaneously combusting this week?
Like so their Slack channels got hacked, and I guess the person that was helping them, they had somebody on the inside who got cold feet, and they would have gotten more. They got like a terabyte of data. I didn't.
Maybe we should talk about that if it's developing. But I thought that Club Penguin was shut down years and years and years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know that was still a thing.
So I don't know why they would be mad about it now when it happened like in 2017.
Maybe they're just still processing their grief, or their therapist went on vacation and they're having impulse control issues.
Dude, I am still processing my grief for the loss of Club Penguin. I loved Club Penguin.
What Club Penguin was.
Well, it's a virtual world.
No, I'm saying you had to explain it to me the first time. Like you mentioned on the show, and then there was actually people in the chat with the audacity to be like, "Oh my God, he doesn't know what Club Penguin was." To which I say, nay.
I still think most of the people were agreeing with you. They had never heard of it. But it was a part of my childhood.
2 more 20s there.
Okay, Dr. Larsena said, "Did you know that according to the best Islamic sources, the best way to prevent an adult man from, quote, wanting a woman is for her to breastfeed him? This is not a joke, it's real."
Well, somebody will have to fact check that later because I have no idea if any of that is true.
Yeah, that's really weird if that is true. President-elect Pressure said, "This Big Mac is for bread."
I was never a big guy. I always got just double cheeseburgers or McDoubles.
Boom, boom, boom.
McDonald's apple pie.
That's disgusting. That is so disgusting.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. Time to talk about the absolute insanity that was this Jojo Siwa story.
Yes, we're about to talk about Jojo Siwa once again, and this time it's not because of any of her antics on stage. It's not because of her new single that she just released called Guilty Pleasure. It's actually because in a recent interview, she talked about her plans for building a family, specifically building designer babies. I don't know if there is a more flattering way to put it. Jojo Siwa recently revealed that she plans to have triplets through 3 separate surrogates in the next couple of years. Quote, "I actually want to take 3 eggs, fertilize 3 eggs, and have 3 surrogates. So technically, they'll all be the same batch, but they would all be born separately." Designer babies are sold separately.
When I saw this, so we were in the office at home, and Olivia could see me just like typing, deleting. She's like, "You look really focused. Like, what are you trying?" I'm like, I'll talk to you in a minute. I was trying to find the words to accurately explain why this grossed me out, and my ultimate conclusion was that better, wittier, more gifted writers than I, those that are better at twittering, will find clever ways of pointing out why this is fucked up. Okay? Mm-hmm. I couldn't think of it in the moment. All I could think about was how devoid a statement like this is of any of the things that are supposed to make having a child beautiful, right? Completely devoid of the idea of love and connection to another person, the joy of building a family with another person, all of these things that are unique to the experience of having a family, and essentially turned it into the same thing as as exporting a bunch of projects from Adobe Premiere at the same time. And all I could think about is that as an agnostic person, I'm a little less agnostic because I read what you had to say. And I don't know how else to phrase it than that, other than it filled me with a certain sense of dread.
Yeah, I think that feeling was universal almost, because as I'm looking at all of these replies, people are starting to realize this is an issue that everyone can get behind, even if you don't know exactly why the surrogacy industry or in vitro industry kind of bothers you, I think everyone can get behind the idea that this is fucked up and weird. We got a 20, right?
Yes.
From Pop Culture Junkie. The reason why some of those broadcast net shows keep getting renewed is they are still relatively cheap to produce because the talent is accepting lower than average fees.
I mean, yeah, they're like, yes, they're making less money, but they're making a lot of it because it's over 22 episodes in the season. If you're making, if you're a star of a network television show and you're making several, like what was it? Let's look up some of these shows. Like House at one point, Hugh Laurie was making $1 million an episode, and what's the lady from Grey's Anatomy makes more than that. And a lot of those other actors aren't making that, but they're making the tens of thousands of dollars an episode. They're making a lot of money doing that. And it's different, understandable, but also they spend way less money per episode because they're on a shorter time frame and a shorter budget.
One of the responses here said, exactly why surrogacy needs tighter laws. She intends to do something crazy because all she needs for it is money. It's terrifying. That's a huge difference between adoption and surrogacy. Surrogacy doesn't really depend on doing background checks on these people. You can be a single person with a criminal record undisclosed, and if you have enough money, you can simply buy a person. And everyone knows that that's wrong on a very instinctual level, but it's kind of been framed as an issue of inclusivity, especially for the LGBTQ community, which Jojo Siwa happens to be a part of because she identifies as a lesbian. So basically, you're a bad person in the eyes of a lot of, woke Twitter if you say that this is weird and should be opposed, or even illegal, which is what I would say. And I am glad that people are finally starting to coalesce despite their ideological differences, despite their religious differences, around a common acknowledgement that the surrogacy industry is at the very least unethical. But it is difficult to see it happen so late in the game as a Catholic, when I know that we have been sounding the alarm about these issues for so much longer and no one paid attention because it came from the church. That's annoying to see.
I also saw plenty of people criticizing maybe not even the surrogacy element, but saying that she'd be a single mom of 3.
I mean, that's also true.
Yeah.
I think she was saying she plans to get married before she starts a family, but given the fact that she's already tattooed the names of these hypothetical children on her body permanently, it doesn't seem like someone else is being, part of this equation. It seems like she is doing this essentially as a narcissistic photocopy of herself.
And that was my point, is it's devoid of any of the actual magic and beauty that comes with having a family.
Everyone knows the babies are supposed to come from love. And this is not that.
In the chat,
it's a transaction.
Somebody say, like, does Brett know that most babies that happen are an accident? Like, even if it's an accident of two people coming together and connecting on a physical level, right? Like, you can have all the moral quandaries about premarital sex and all that, but it required two people to come together and be intimate with one another, which is a specific type of human connection that, it's a special thing. And to see it basically turned into some type of mathematical and industrial problem that has to be solved, a factory line, if you will.
Humans should not be widgets in a capitalist widget factory. Everyone feels this way, but are having trouble explaining it in such words, because that would really have a lot of presumptions built into it.
It was the word batch. The word batch to me is what got to me. Like,
so technically, they'll all be the same batch, born separately.
It's like that. Remember that tweet that went viral many years ago? It says, like, I wish we could pick our baby's fathers. And somebody's like, who's gonna tell her?
Yeah. It's really dark. And coincidentally, at the same time that this was going viral, Brittany Griner, we found out that Brittany Griner is also becoming a parent. This says Brittany Griner is expecting her first child with her pregnant wife, due to give birth next month. Griner is set to become a mother for the first time 2 years after her release from Russian prison.
Okay.
And you can see the photo of them, and this is an interview where they discussed the news.
Probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together.
Should have gone with the gender neutral terminology there. Should have just said parent. Wouldn't have gotten corrected like that.
About to be a pops. Please tell me how exciting that is for you and what you're looking forward to most.
I'm super excited.
Right audio channel
I guess
only.
I'll just drop it. He's here. So he's here. Yes, 7'8", 7 pounds 8 ounces. Yeah, that's my man.
I love that.
He is amazing. They say, you know, as soon as you see him, it just like everything that you thought mattered just goes out the window, and that's literally what happens. It's kind of sucks because I got to leave.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time. He'll understand.
Wait, it sucks because I've got to leave? As in,
Olympics, most likely.
Leave for the Olympics?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. This is why people have a problem with surrogacy. Because when someone else is carrying your child for 9 months, they're the one bonding with your child. And Khloe Kardashian recently spoke out about this, saying she didn't name her son for the first 9 months of his life after he was born because she felt a lack of connection to him, because her son was gestated in another woman's womb that she was paying for. There is something profoundly sickening about that, and I don't think it's hateful to point it out.
It's a level of dissociativeness that people can understand, like should be able to understand instinctively, right?
Yes, absolutely. And unfortunately, that industry is only getting bigger and bigger. Anyway, back to Jojo Siwa news. That is a little bit more lighthearted. Jojo Siwa recently reacted to being the most disliked music video of 2024 for a female artist.
I wonder between what batch she recorded this one. Get it.
So a list just got released of the most disliked music video by a female artist on YouTube in 2024. Here we go. Fourth place, we have Yes And by Ariana Grande with 290,000.
Oh, she can barely talk now, can she?
Coming in hot at number 3, we've got the brand new Women's World by Katy Perry.
I mean, her voice is like damaged.
30,000 dislikes.
She does kind of sound like she just got over a cold all the time.
Number 2, second place overall, we have Fortnite by Taylor Swift with a whopping 350,000 dislikes.
Does that surprise you?
No, because it's a certain level of views that's going to have more dislikes than the rest.
And your number 1 first place overall goes to Karma by Jojo Siwa with an astonishing, record-breaking 3.1
That's crazy.
million dislikes.
I like that she's got like a poster of herself in the background.
Her cars are wrapped in images of her face.
You know, I am the only person that can say I beat Taylor Swift on a list of something.
Hey!
I'll take it.
Technically, that's not true because Eminem's new album just debuted at number 1 on the charts, and he dethroned Taylor Swift today, or this week.
You know, I wish Eminem made a song about JoJo. That would be funny.
That would be amazing.
But she got 10 times basically more dislikes on her music video than Taylor Swift, who is ranked below her. I know she's trying to seem unbothered, but I really just don't buy that she is
that's
chill about
most
this.
of the
Because
time,
when she
right?
heard someone booing her at that one Pride event, she lost her marbles. Like, she was screaming at the crowd, and that's when I saw Abby in her. That's when I saw her psycho dance instructor jump out and possess her.
It always feels like whenever they take the time to acknowledge the comments like that, they're legitimizing it in a way because that's what they're worried about.
One person in the same industry, though, who does support JoJo is Grimes. One of Elon's baby mamas, but a pop star in her own right. Grimes tweeted about JoJo's controversial dance choreography for Karma, which almost everyone hated, but Grimes loves it.
Says, truly, what the F is this magnificent ogre dance? This is actually innovative. Like if she did this at a noise show, the other acts would look tame and entirely unprovocative. Like Picasso, she became famous for mastering her craft and now inverts it into something people believe is an artistic failure.
Simply too early and too experimental. That's what it was. She was ahead of her time.
They say that you have to learn the rules so that you have to know the rules so you can learn how to break them properly.
Rules are meant to be broken. Do you want to?
Yep. No audio because I'm not getting copyrighted today. I'm muting it. There we go.
This is her guilty pleasure dance, I suppose. Just taking everything we hated about Karma and leveling it up 100-fold. What is that? What? And the prayer at the end.
What it is somebody keeps trying to talk to her and she's shooing them away. She's like, please.
What is that move?
It's literally like a weird monkey move to keep somebody away from her.
That's actually scary. But yeah, I also wanted to show a clip from her new music video without the audio.
Do we have that? I might have yeah.
Sure, let me send it to you.
Send that one to me.
But in this music video, I mentioned this on Friday, she just has this teddy bear motif going on, but she also looks like she's at the brothel in Twin Peaks with the red curtains on the wall. It's very weird. She has teddy bears on her head and she's in lingerie.
I mean, she looks like the Road Warriors in WWE.
They've got dancing teddy bears in the back. And there's the construction outfit.
I can't watch any more of this. I'm sorry. That was disgusting. We're going away from this. All right. Thank you.
It was disgusting. And her comments about surrogacy were even more disgusting than that music video.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats. We got a 20 there at the bottom.
From Zach.
Yep.
Was it? Hey guys, also having a case of the Mondays since I went to bed at 4:30 and woke up at 7 for work. Saw Twisters last night, loved it, but they should have kissed. I'm with Brett. It sucks that we no longer have a shared reality.
Shared reality. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Shared reality. It died in 2015.
But it's why, like, it's the number one thing that I go back to. Anytime I think about engaging, like, you go on Twitter, right? Somebody says something infuriating to you. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. He lives in a completely different world than I do, so the truth is irrelevant. He will want whatever he believes is the truth. He will believe 100% wholeheartedly with every fiber of his being. Even if it's not true, that doesn't matter because internet, conversations rarely, if ever, sway anyone. You have to find your way to truth and reality on your own. I think most people who have gone through any type of political awakening where they started one way and they grew into something else find that they have to go on that journey alone. And it's rarely because a friend was like, hey, look at this video, right? That's not how it, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that that's how it usually happens. I think that people's guard is up when you're in those situations, when somebody's like, hey, well, like, can I explain to you that what Project 2025 actually is? It's about opening up Pizza Hut locations all over the country with the pizza buffet.
With those great red glasses.
With those great red glasses, yeah. Reality is dead.
I wish that were
long live
Project 2025.
I mean, maybe that's what the simulation is in the end, is that everybody's living in a separate simulation, and that's what it is now.
I don't like simulation theory. Makes me uncomfy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why?
Well, it also just seems like an alternative to just believing that God is controlling the, providential trajectory we're on. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a cope, yes. Hiroshima Otaru said they had him chase her. No kiss was a mistake. See, yes. Why would there be a scene of Tyler chasing down a woman he is interested in an airport at the end of a romance movie if they're not going to kiss? Why is that a thing?
Bro put the augers in the ground. He's going to jail. Okay, he's at an airport. Homeland Security is coming for him.
He's about to get arrested.
He's going to jail.
Yeah.
You better at least get the kiss if you're going to jail.
Mm-hmm. That was such a missed opportunity. Shane H. Wilder said, I saw Longlegs. It was ambiguous and mid. Nick Cage's performance was great, but his 15 minutes of screen time couldn't save the movie from mediocrity. Look,
Longlegs is making bank too on a very small budget, so it did very, very well.
You would say it has
long legs. We'll have to wait and see. It had it only had if I read correctly, it was a 47% drop from week 1 to week 2. So yeah, the legs could be very long.
That's why they named it that, actually. On the Raggedy Ann said, PCC guys, what do you got?
We got Jojo Siwa renting wombs and dancing like a buffoon. What do you got?
I love the rhyme, actually.
Yes, thank you.
That was creative. Timcast guys, what do you got? Oh, okay. Notification said, fun fact, Sweden and Switzerland are different countries.
Oh, when you said Switzerland earlier?
I said Switzerland. Yeah. I meant Switzerland.
Yeah.
Switzerland was the one that didn't do lockdowns, right?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
Let me look it up.
All I remember is people playing clarinets with masks on and people freaking out about toilet paper. And
where was that? Was that Canada that the clarinet chick?
I don't know. There was all sorts of, and the people dressed absolutely absurdly.
It says, contrary to full-scale lockdown, Switzerland implemented a decentralized approach to COVID restrictions.
They're saying in the chat, no, it was Sweden that didn't lock down.
It said it didn't impose lockdowns.
Saltzilla says they yodeled COVID away.
At least that's what I'm looking at. It says Switzerland never implemented a nationwide lockdown, unlike other European neighbors. So that's what I was thinking.
What's the saying? If they can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities.
I've never heard that saying before.
It's what I think of when I think of, like, if they can tell you that playing a clarinet with a mask on is completely irrational, you're telling me that they can't convince you of something else that's equally as stupid. If you can, what it is also is, like, I consider that to be a certain level of, like, only a college educated idiot could explain that away and feel good about themselves. Only somebody who says, well, no, we're living in times of crisis, and now that masks are going to be far more common, it's perfectly rational for 2 adult humans on a Zoom call to wear masks so that they can get used to the image of 2 people wearing masks together.
We're going to counteract their unconscious bias against masked faces. That's what they would say.
Expanding language was the worst thing we ever did. Like, giving names to everything and expanding language is the worst thing that we ever did.
I'm not against having names for things. I just think stupid people shouldn't go to college.
Just stop naming stuff. Nothing should have names.
Stop overeducating people who are not smart enough to be educated. You know what I mean?
You should be forced to describe everything like it's charades. You shouldn't be allowed to actually describe anything.
Maybe we should just, like, go back to the stage where we discovered fire. See how it goes the second time around. Shane H. Wilder said, never trust the mental stability of a dude with painted nails that films their emotional breakdowns in a car. I mean, make asylums great again.
What if he was singing an emo song, huh? What if he was singing an emo song?
Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
No, he'd be singing, I'm at the Burger King with my Burger Queen.
Can I get a large fry?
I wonder if they're still together.
I hope they're still together, or else I have no hope in humanity.
My hope is that the Burger King and the Burger Queen are still together.
I hope she's not vegan anymore, for her own sake. Don't put no cheese.
With some honey mustard on the side.
And some honey mustard on the side. Ulvin McGough said, I overheard a conversation of people talking that Biden dropped out as I was walking around a Renaissance festival. That's probably the best way to find out, though. Mm-hmm. Like, actually from the town crier. Mm-hmm. I wish we still had those. Corey Anderson said, YouTube allows OF Thoughts to model sheer and transparent clothing with no underwear. Yeah, I was also telling Brett about that. I saw the Moist Critical video about this.
Okay.
We should probably talk about it.
Well, we're still going to... Yeah. I wouldn't put it past just because of the associations that are made with us politically, with us not getting treated with the same level of freedom that they are with what they're posting. So we're not going to be able to show videos or images of it.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, it's literally just women with their full tits out.
Yep.
Like no censored whatsoever.
I'll have to do lots of research.
Yeah, you should get to your research after the show today.
Psych.
Serenco Productions said Kathleen Kennedy has already pre-approved season 2, 3, and 4 for the show with the most carbon copies yet. No need to do well when you have woman power. Well, I don't know if that's confirmed, but...
I mean, if she's asking for people to post about it, does that really matter? Is that really true?
This is Kathleen Kennedy, not...
No, but I'm saying, like, if Leslie Headland has to ask for help to get season 2, how...
She claims she has no idea if they're going to get a second season, so... I don't know. I'm hoping not, but they'll likely get canceled after 2, maybe 3. Pat the Plumber said, this is not the score you're looking for.
That was in relation to the Acolyte, I think.
YOLO Swaggins said, I'm simping for Mary. Let that sink in.
Now I guess everyone who says let that sink in, it's a reference to Elon, right? With the sink.
Is it?
When he went to take over Twitter.
Okay. I like the username YOLO Swaggins a lot, actually. Weird Robot said, thoughts on the show Winona Earp?
Yeah, it's like...
I hear they're making a movie or something of it now.
I think I got through about 20 minutes of Winona Earp and turned it off. Not for any reason that I can think of off the top of my head. I just wasn't interested. It's got like 4 or 5 seasons, right? I might have to go back and check it out.
When was this from?
Early 2010s, I think like 2014 or something.
On the Sci-Fi Channel?
Yeah, it was a sci-fi show.
It's a
I think it got bought by Netflix.
A Western horror TV series?
Guess it's is that Wyatt Earp's daughter? I don't know. I got through a couple of minutes of it. I'll have to check it out.
Okay. Never heard of it before.
I could see it being one of those shows that I end up really liking and then watching all of it. Oh, also
like Jane the Virgin.
Look, that's not me choosing to watch that one.
Sure.
I don't put that one on.
You're not invested at all.
I will tell you, however, that I don't know if anybody here follows me on Instagram, but I posted this crazy picture of this actor who has like a 2-second scene in an episode of the 2016 Lethal Weapon TV show where this character gets put out in front of a truck, and then Riggs takes out his gun and literally shoots in the air to stop this truck from hitting this guy. And I could have sworn this was Bruce Campbell, like famous, Evil Dead actor Bruce Campbell. And I don't know if it actually is because he's not credited at the beginning of the show or at the end of the show.
Sorry to interrupt. We just don't have a party count.
Is it gone?
For some reason, it's gone.
Huh. I was tricking you guys. I fixed it.
Wait, what happened?
It was off.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we are $12 away from the third crisis party.
Anyways, if anybody saw that picture that I posted, tell me that was not Bruce Campbell, because it totally was.
Gordon Shumway said, Mary, you think a McDouble costing $1 is crazy? Tacos at Taco Bell used to be 59 cents in the 90s. I bet Brett remembers.
I do. I mean,
you remember this?
Yeah, I remember when my regular soft shell taco was a lot cheaper.
She
doesn't believe it. She's like, I think you guys are lying to me.
It's not fair. Now they're only they're $1.25 on like one day of the week.
Yeah.
Now, it sucks. Shane H. Wilder said, I don't think she knows how triplets work. I have a headache now. She doesn't want a child. She wants an accessory. Maybe she should just buy a purse. Well, she, clearly has a great fashion sense. But yeah, objectively, that's right. If they're not in the same womb, are they triplets? That doesn't really make sense.
It's a depressing statement on the complete lack of emotional connection we have with family.
It's also it's straight up eugenic. It's a very worrying precedent because it sounds like from the fact that she's already selected their names and their genders that she's going to do sex selective embryo transfers and let the ones that she didn't want or the less viable ones remain frozen indefinitely and eventually discarded.
It's also crazy because when you think about it, it speaks to just how deep the emotional need for family is but just how devoid we are of actually connecting with other people, because this isn't like you show up one day and it just happens. This is endless appointments and trips to the doctor and painful procedures and procedures and stuff like that. Like, the need for this runs headlong into modernity, and you just crash headlong. It's crazy.
Yeah. Aside from anything that she said, do we really think Jojo Siwa is emotionally mature enough to be a parent to anyone when she still acts like a child and clearly has not moved on past that point of her life? I mean, it's more clear to me than anyone almost that she's still in the mindset of a child, because she has no concept of what it means to be an adult. Yeah. Her entire concept of what it means to be an adult so far seems to be like wearing little clothes, binge drinking, and saying the F word. Well, that's what she thinks being an adult is. And yet she is trying to have not just one, but 3 children under her care.
Yeah.
To whom she has no, biological bond, right? Because they would be, from the wombs of other women. You haven't bonded with them at all. They're essentially just props in your big mansion. It's just so disturbing.
I agree.
Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, you're absolutely right on the broadcast salary observation, but also making above 100 episodes is part of the equation so it can have a syndication life.
Yeah, so the big thing is that, look, first of all, the main stars are still making good money, right? But the key is to get to the 100 episode mark, because once it goes into syndication, you're going to get those checks, as they sit on Ion television forever. Like all those actors who did Criminal Minds. Actually, Criminal Minds is back on air now. It's just on Paramount. It's on Paramount Plus. But the point is, all those actors, they're gonna eat well forever, because those, like, you cannot turn on Ion television without an episode of Psych or Criminal Minds or any of these shows playing. So.
Shane H. Wilder said, to add, surrogacy is renting and buying people. Renting a woman's womb, buying a designer child. There is no love there. John 16:21. Anyone. Yep, all true. And he also said Jojo most disliked Karma's a bitch. Karma
she should have known better.
A bitch, and she should have known better. Shane H. Wilder said, we have town criers. They have mentee bees on TikTok.
Well, then tell them to roll their car windows down so other people can hear.
They should be able to hear. Serenco Productions said, source for my Kath Kennedy scoop. I made it up. LOL.
Okay.
Love that for you.
All right. Thank you for that.
Keep spreading fake news. We support you. Rhaegar Targaryen said comic books costed $1 and candy bars were 50 cents.
It was a lot cheaper back in the day.
Did it feel cheap?
Yeah.
Did you realize that it was cheap?
Yeah.
In the moment?
It's funny. There's a lot of antique houses out here, like antique stores, like big ones, like antique malls,
emporiums.
And there's like whole comic book collections in there that I almost buy but never do.
Maybe you should resell them.
Not even just DC and Marvel, but a lot of Image or IDW publishing and stuff like that. It's really interesting. It's a lot of those. Like every time I've gone to that one over there, there's one in Frederick that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drewish AF said Rhaegar could have bought a comic and 2 candy barts. Candy barts. Sorry.
Now you just go to the dollar store and get your candy for $1.25.
Am I all caught up here?
Shane H. Wilder says, Serenco, I didn't know you worked for mainstream media.
Source. I made it up. I mean, I'd be willing to believe that.
We will hang out. Yeah, we'll hang out till 5. But we are very close to that third crisis party, guys. I'm just saying that.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm just saying that for no reason
I don't even
whatsoever.
care. I don't even care if we get a third crisis party. Look at my face. I don't even care.
You also don't care for growing up on a homestead or a farm.
Do you want to address that?
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. I sometimes am trying to piss people off on Twitter. Sometimes I'm not even trying it. It just still happens.
You intimated to the Twitter public that you don't desire to live on a farm or homestead. You want to live in a city or a suburb.
Either one.
And they were upset.
Or something in between.
People were mad at you.
Yeah.
It happened.
Which is weird because, you know, most of the people who were mad don't run homesteads. So it's like, why are you trying to tell me that I should do something that like you're not even doing?
Yeah.
Or that it's easy when you're not the one doing it.
Yeah.
And then I saw some replies from people who do run farms and homesteads, and they said, yeah, it's really effing hard.
It's a lot of work.
And it essentially added, you know, full-time jobs for like both me and my spouse. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not just like something you do on a whim. But, you know, I'm also not interested in dipping my toe into it either. I'm not interested in growing tomatoes, okay? Like it doesn't tickle my fancy.
We need to what Nara needs to do? She needs to start putting up like open polls, like what should I make from scratch next?
Well, Nara Smith made a Coca-Cola from scratch, and I just can't get over the intro to the video. My husband was mentioning that he was craving Coca-Cola earlier.
I had a breakdown when we talked about that too. I said, no adult says that. They just go buy one.
Yeah, I'm
from
really
the
craving
store.
a Coca-Cola right now.
They just go buy one from the store.
Guess I'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
And he knows that she's about to go sprinting to make him a Coca-Cola from scratch.
I think her next one should be like her husband's like, I think I'm going to update my iPhone. And she makes an iPhone from scratch.
She becomes an engineer. My husband said that he was craving a pencil earlier, so I planted a tree, and I think that it's just a really sophisticated troll.
Or she's like, look, my husband wanted a hamburger. I bought a cow.
Yes.
I brought it home.
Yes. She's going to start showing like actual slaughter videos at this point. Because how can you up the ante any further? I appreciate her troll though. Every time that she makes one of these new videos, she's wearing some like even more extravagant designer clothing item. Like she's like wearing hats and coats and things like this. It's insane. More power to her. Pop culture junkie. Brett also broadcast net shows that are produced by their own network production company like NCIS get bigger renewal chances because they're self-owned.
Yes, that is one of the reasons that Person of Interest ended up not going as many seasons as people would have liked it to, is because it was owned by a different studio. I believe ABC Studios owned it or something, but it was broadcast on CBS. So there's less money in it, and if they have to choose between two shows with similar ratings, they're going to choose to renew the show that they own because they get to keep the majority of the money.
Drewish AF said, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God bless you all and the USA." If only they had this at the RNC.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he kind of switched lanes there.
It's like, isn't there some Daily Bread in there somewhere too? Even I know that one.
But you're, in a certain sense, giving us our daily bread. So
okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Drewish AF.
Thank you, Drew.
Urashima Otaru said, Jojo looks like a giant toddler.
She does. Yeah. She does.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
She looks like a giant toddler that wasn't given her afternoon snack, and that's why she's dancing.
She didn't get to nap time.
No.
She's getting cranky. She's hangry.
She's
taking it out on everyone.
We're almost halfway to a fourth crisis party now. Again, I am making that statement for no reason in particular. None whatsoever.
Wait, what do you...
We got the third one. We're through the third.
You think we're going to make it to 4?
I just said we're getting close to halfway, and I'm making that statement for no particular reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Acknowledged.
That's all I'm saying.
Gordon Shumway said, it felt cheap in the 90s. I was broke in college. My buddy and I would go to Taco Bell and stuff our faces for $5 total. That was cheap.
Yeah. I mean,
so you knew it was cheap.
Yes. When I was in high school and college, like when I was in high school, you'd go to Wendy's late at night and order off the dollar menu and then eat it in your car.
See, I don't exactly...
And hope your eyes weren't too red.
I don't like... stuff my face with Taco Bell, but I can still get a combo for like $6 to $7. That's not that bad. It's still, I think that Taco Bell is like the last fast food chain that actually has cheap food at this point. All of the rest of them are jacked up like crazy.
Costs a lot of money
prices
to eat out these days.
Thank you for the third one. If that is what this is.
It is.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, "The dream that makes a sparrow fly can make an eagle fall. One that makes a rich man money, it ain't no dream at all."
I'm assuming those are song lyrics.
I'm going to assume the same. Surinko Productions said, "But I also think Kathleen Kennedy would approve solely because woman, as shown repeatedly by her putting a chick in Star Wars and made it lame and gay."
Well, there you have it.
Fair points.
I look, I don't have a whole lot to say on it. Like I'm glad we're done reviewing it. It made me very happy that we didn't review Velma season 2. I actually think that it was probably, like, I don't know if even reviewing the show was really a net positive for the channel all that much.
Really?
I don't know.
Why?
Like, it's just whatever. Like, it's not like
you think it was a negative thing for us to.
I think it was a net neutral. I think it was net neutrality. It was neutral. It was completely. It didn't help us or hurt us.
Well, I'm glad because I don't really mind hate watching. I find it funny.
My hope is that I get a positive by maybe they get done with Twisted Metal season 2 soon, and I can watch that whenever it comes out on Peacock.
Cleanse your palate.
Oh, here's a recommendation for people if you like some lowbrow made-for-TV movie art. So I love I'd seen the first 2 movies from the Librarian series starring Noah Weil. Now I've touted The Librarians from 2014 with Rebecca Romaine. It's not Rebecca Romaine Stamos anymore. It's just Rebecca Romaine, Christian Kane, all these great actors that are in that show. Fantastic. And I'd seen the first 2 movies in the series, but I watched the third one last night. It was called like The Librarian and the Judas Chalice, and it was a lot of fun and had Stana Katic in it from Castle, and it was really, really good. It's a fun time. It's kind of like low budget Indiana Jones. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
But the point is, they're on some of the free streaming services with ads, but they're on Peacock now without ads. And I like watching TV shows with ads. I don't like watching movies with ads.
Who's gonna tell him that no one has Peacock?
Just me.
It's literally just you.
Just me.
Ben Tomsky said, "I feel like I want a nuclear reactor for the backyard." What do you think, honey?
I do want a nuclear reactor for the backyard.
Yeah. I'm sure the HOA is gonna have any problems with that. Omega Red Fan said 2 tacos for 99 cents. We will never forget.
Yep.
That should be a campaign promise. If anyone in this race actually wants to win, promise us 2 tacos for 99 cents.
Yeah. Trump's trying to win over one demographic with the no tips on
No
tax on tips. Yeah. And he's like, so no tax on tips for you, 2 for 99-cent tacos at Taco Bell for you.
Yeah. If he really wants to win me over.
Do you think any kid who ever ran for class president ever actually got more recess time for their constituents?
Or soda in the water fountains?
Think that ever happened?
Even, I don't know.
I feel like there's a movie to be made on this. Like there's some type of satirical movie to be made.
What are you even... I'm sorry. When you're in elementary school or middle school especially, what is there to even do if you're the class president? Like, what does that even mean? Really just means nothing, right?
I was never class president, so I have no idea. I bet you we have at least one class president in our chat.
Yeah, guys, let us know if you were on student council and why, and what was that like? Were you even responsible for everything, or was it just like totally meaningless? Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, your knowledge of what is this?
The Arcane Worldwide Network.
Arcane. Wood Network machinery is significant. Bravo. Remember, I'm a retired Fox local TV VP.
Yeah. I always love, so the great thing about having TV shows that I loved back in the day is they usually were accompanied by podcasters that talked about them. And there were 2 great podcasts about Person of Interest that I've told you off air, as like one of them, like the episodes have been like wiped from the internet, and I've gone as far as like I want to get the guy who hosted that show on our channel because he's a stand-up comedian.
You should reach out.
Yeah, David Vox Mullen.
You should get in touch.
And those episodes, I sent him a message at one point. I was like, I will pay money. Will you like mail me the files of the? I didn't say that.
He saw that and he was like, blocked.
Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
wait, why would they take it down though?
I think he said something happened because like the servers they were on just got messed with, and then the podcast has been off the air for so long, he never re-uploaded them. So I want them, but sadly they don't exist anymore. But a lot of those would do a lot.
Try to get a response from him.
A lot of those podcasts would do like updates about renewals and stuff like that. So a lot of the knowledge that I have about that stuff comes from podcasts.
Pat the Plumber said, Brett, don't bother with Outer Range anymore. They effing canceled it. BS.
I only got through 2 episodes. I got through 1.5 episodes of that. That shit was so boring to me. Now, I understand that I have the attention span of like a particularly stupid gnat. So my attention span goes all over the place, but that show was so...
I would say a high IQ.
Oh, thank
gnat,
you.
Actually.
Like valedictorian gnat. That's about my
president of his class gnat.
If I had an attention span, it would be that of a gnat that tried to get you more recess time.
Mm-hmm.
But that show was just too damn slow for me.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, remember when net neutrality killed us all?
I do.
I still don't. After all this time, I don't know what net neutrality means. Can someone explain it to me?
Somebody in the chat, give a detailed explanation of net neutrality.
That's like 5 to 10 parts long, preferably. I just remember Ajit Pai sipping out of his Reese's mug. That's all I remember. Shane H. Wilder said the lyrics were to say that there is no reason to hate on you not wanting to live the farm life.
Oh.
Also, Mary, season 2 of Exorcist Files is out. I know I'm behind on these episodes, but I need to like not listen to it at night because I don't want to freak myself out.
In the chat, somebody said Relic Hunter with Tia Carrera is budgeted Indiana Jones. Holy shit, dude. Relic Hunter is awesome. That's what everybody should go on. I think that's on Amazon Prime. Like, it's on the free streaming services as well because it's so old and pulp. But actually, one of the actresses in that show, Lindy Booth, plays like her secretary she's a professor at a college. And she went on to do The Librarians, which is also, like I just said, like
low budget pulp.
Yeah, they're both of the same franchise, but that show is awesome.
Tia Carrera, where have I heard her name?
She played Cassandra in Wayne's World.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Swing.
Yeah.
If she were a president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, yes, the news acted like it was the apocalypse.
Yep. It's all falling
Biden?
apart. No, net neutrality.
Oh, net neutrality, yeah. Shadow Zero said, you did great on Flashcast, man. I've been rewatching White Collar, so Google decided to let me know there is a White Collar reboot in the works. I hope not.
No, it's a continuation. They're going to continue the same show. No Willie Garson, because Willie Garson has since passed on and can't do the show. I think we ended up talking about it at one point. I might have even recorded a video that I never put up about all the reasons why I don't want them to do this. Number one being that the show never seems to take a stance on whether wealth or being rich is good or bad. Certainly he loves to steal from the rich, but it's never framed as like a Robin Hood thing. He's a self-interested con man who's addicted to what he does. He's addicted to being a thief, to doing,
klepto,
to being a criminal. And one of the big story elements is like he's got a good heart, and Peter's always trying to pull him over to the good side. And Willie Garson, the Mozzie character, although a seemingly lovable character, kind of plays on his worst impulses in a lot of ways. And it's this kind of back and forth battle. And Peter is portrayed as very, very smart as an FBI agent, and they could have worked very hard to make that character dumb to make Neil look smarter. But Peter is also really smart. But now that I think about it, I wonder how they would even portray, whether, like in the show, Peter always kind of uses Neil for his own ends. Like his case closure rate is very, very high, and he's a very highly regarded FBI agent, and he was even before Neil came aboard. But you could make the argument that what Peter does is exploitative by constantly using Neil for his talents, and the threat of Neil never being able to get off of the anklet that he's on. There's some very interesting philosophical ideas that they would be stupid to try to implement. But I could see them attempting to do so if they don't bring back the original writers from the show. If they branch out and they bring in writers that are younger, I could see them going down the rabbit hole of philosophical ideas that are the opposite of what made the show enjoyable.
You can't possibly get back all of the old writers. It's going to be a new writing.
I mean, I've looked at it. A lot of those
After a
writers
certain amount of
are still around and are still working. So the hope would be that they could get them back. I made that point. The main ones who gave that show its voice, but
we got a 20 from Grant Arnett. He said, I ran for class president for my junior year. I won, and the school changed the rules where no one outside of the student council could run for any elected positions. I made posters and chose where my class's prom was going to be.
They Bernied you.
Damn.
You were Bernie Sanders, and did you guys see the meme? Chat, did anybody see the meme of Bernie Sanders running down to the DNC convention with a Money in the Bank briefcase?
Thank you, guys. Okay. Tacti Plati said, gosh darn it, I also have Peacock and we use it.
See?
Okay, there's like one other person.
There had to be at least one.
Surinko Productions.
We missed one from Shadows. Oh, no, we got that one.
Don't think so.
Oh, hold on, my thing's not refreshing. Okay,
Surinko Productions said, well, I appreciate you suffering with Acolyte with me.
Yeah.
You mean Wokalite? More like woke shit. More like Aka bullshit.
Am I right, guys?
Am I right? Hiroshima Otaru said student council usually handles yearbook or dances. Well, at my school, there was like a whole yearbook club that was like totally separate. I don't know.
As somebody who
sounds like free labor.
As somebody who skated, I made a great point to not be part of any clubs or organizations. I was too cool for that.
Well, also so you wouldn't have to like constantly be unreliable.
Yes, correct.
Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, you have great taste. Person of Interest is my all-time favorite from the last 15 years.
It is a fantastic show. Though I am probably in the minority in that I believe that the first 3 seasons are the superior ones, when it was more of an episodic show that had the serialized elements built in the flashbacks and then brought to conclusions at the season finale and the mid-season finale. Whereas once it went to season 4 and 5, it became fully serialized and you had to watch weekly to pay attention, which probably played a role in the dissipating fan base when people miss a week or two and then they tune back in and then they're like, what the hell is going on here?
Like when I was just rewatching it, I actually don't like when a show is just in like these self-contained episodes and that there's not an ongoing storyline.
I prefer that to me. Like my point is like Hollywood writers today are so bad, at least on television most of the time, that until you can prove to me that you can tell me a good beginning, middle, and end in 45 minutes, I don't want to hear about your 8-episode miniseries or your 16-episode miniseries. Certainly not when you're given an hour for each of those episodes and it's boring as hell.
Well, I'm not saying for a miniseries, but like any series in general, I would have gotten more into Person of Interest with the beginning of it if it had been just from the jump. Serialized.
The point of it early on was that those
story.
elements are in there in the flashbacks, and certainly there's an unbelievable amount of care and detail paid to it in the flashbacks, but you have to watch really, really close. Like, it's not a show that really benefited from watching an episode one time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it was like interstitial shots of computers that had something on there that were relevant, and if you're going to do that, like, you have to understand that your fan base for stuff like that is going to be... correspondingly
people
specific.
Who like Easter eggs, which is not me. Tacti Plati said, I'm not paying to explain that. Read chat more. I'm okay with living the rest of my life not knowing what net neutrality is. I'm at peace with that. Colby Hansen said, I was my class VP. It's basically a ploy to offload staff work like planning events onto students.
Kind of like how I complain all the time about how Girl Scout cookies are really just forced child labor.
Yeah,
pretty
much.
Yeah.
Potatoes for Seamus said hello. Let's go.
Let's go. Hello, my friend.
Shane H. Wilder said, I have Peacock and Max because I get them for free.
You must get them, through your cell phone provider, I'm guessing?
It's always something like that.
It's something like that. I've benefited from Max lately because I've been watching the old Jack Ryan movies, like the Clear and Present Danger, and I watched The Sum of All Fears like right after we watched Twisters the other night. Nothing like going through a movie about natural disasters right into something with A-bomb panic.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
An unnatural disaster.
An unnatural disaster, exactly. All right, guys. I think
we're caught up.
I think we're all caught up on all those guys. So before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel, please, if you've not done so already?
Visible.
I'm not visible. The buttons. It was happening on Friday too, right?
Yeah.
The buttons were sticking.
Something's up with the stream deck. It's fine.
Guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. I do apologize. The stream deck does seem to be sticking.
Yes.
Mary, where can we find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And we've got one last super chat from Pop Culture Junkie. I think one of the reasons why Star Trek Strange New World is doing so well is because it's episodic.
Yeah.
He said it twice. I don't know if that was on purpose.
All right.
I haven't seen it, so I don't have a take.
All right, guys. Well, with all of that being said, I want to thank everybody again for joining us today. So hit the like button on this video and subscribe, please, because we're getting very close to 125,000 subscribers, which feels significant to me. It feels significant. It feels like something I can post about on the internet.
It's a milestone.
Yeah.
It's not like one of the best milestones, but it's a milestone.
All right, so guys, please go ahead and do that. And remember, you can follow me on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. The show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you prefer to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I've done the outro so many times now that when I was doing it, I said, have I done the part about not being on TikTok anymore before I even got to that part? So I'm losing my mind.
A little bit, I can tell.
One more there.
One more from Shane H. Wilder. Brett quit spilling drinks on the stream deck. I can see him just spilling his 5-hour energies.
I'm left-handed when I drink on the show, so that's fake news. It's over here on the other side.
Me too, actually.
So,
Yeah.
All right, with that being said, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Later, everyone.